This is a Philips compact disc interactive CDI-220 player. The Timekeeper battery is bad, so I'm going to try and replace that. First order of business is taking it apart.
After removing 7 screws and the top cover, we are greeted by the FMV extension cage and the CD mechanism. These both need to come out in order to gain access to the motherboard. If your player has one, always remove the FMV cartridge before removing the cage, otherwise you will break stuff.
Here's a good look at the Timekeeper IC. Some people online will just cut it open right there while it's inside, but I prefer to remove it and then cut it open outside so I don't risk damaging any of the motherboard or the surrounding components. As you can see, it's not soldered down on both sides, it's only soldered down on the bottom side, so that should make removing it a bit easier. It is kind of difficult to get this board out. After undoing the screws over here around the connectors, and the screw down here and here, you can bend away the tabs, lift the board up. There's also one around here. Then you should slide the board forward a little bit. It's difficult to do one-handed. Just a little bit. Then that's too far. That's what I said, it's very difficult. And it's also hard to get it back because it will try to get back in the clips. So then lift it past that bar right there, and then you can lift it out. Now that you have the board out, get a soldering iron. Use a tip shaped like this. So it's for pencil it's a D24. Locate the chip. I have it over here just out of view. And you could use a solder sucker like I am right here, but you could also use a wick or something, whatever you prefer. Set your temperature to something like 340 or something. So that's just the right amount for leaded solder to melt, and it won't kill the board. Next, just apply some solder to the pins. Note that the pins connected to the ground will be more difficult to get solder to because those are on a larger pad, but eventually it will stick to it. Now that all the pads are tinned a little bit, next you heat up the pad and suck out the solder. Now what I like to do is get a stiff-ish tool like a screwdriver and check if all the pins are loose. They might not be, so you can just give them a little tap, and if they don't wiggle, they are still attached, which we don't want. Now you could try to break them loose, but if you need to put too much force on it, you might slip and you might damage traces or something. So that is not recommended. You should honestly just get your soldering iron and try getting them loosened again with that. Now I see there's still one pin attached, and that's the only one they did solder through and through for some reason. So I'm just gonna get a little bit of solder and then put it on the top in the hopes that I can loosen it up a bit. Now what I'm currently doing is just, I put a bit of solder on the pin that's still in, and I'm gently trying to wiggle it out, but it does not seem to come out. Just don't pull it too hard either, since you might destroy it that way. There. Apparently there were two still attached. Now we clean those pads out thoroughly to make sure there's no blocked holes left. There. Nice and clean. Now we can put that board away for now and focus on this IC. Now, I didn't prepare, so we need to look up where the battery is hiding, which of course they do not list in the data sheet, because that would be too easy. Okay, so apparently if you hold it like this, the battery should be on this side. So if I cut away over there, there should be contacts where I can solder to. So I'm going to try and cut it open with a little metal saw, which will go well, of course. Probably not. And please note that you only need to cut the top side, because there's two halves. The bottom side is the SRAM. And you might want to do it on something that's not your anti-static mat, so you don't destroy it. And I hit metal. You can barely see it over there. Now, I'm not sure how I'm going to get it apart further. I might just try and use a little screwdriver to break the cover off. Oop. Which seems to work a little bit. Oh, that works pretty well. So just place the snips on the separator and then we'll break free. Just hope I didn't destroy the battery now, but we'll see soon enough. A little while later I've managed to free these 2 points, which I hopefully can solder something to. I just need to check the polarity real quick. This thing is properly dead, so I measured around 136 millivolts, with the minus being the lower one and the plus being the higher one, which makes sense because the positive side is upwards, although you can't see it because of the black stuff, but I can barely make it out. Let's see if I can get some solder to stick to this thing. They make it seem really damn easy in those tutorials, but this is fucking impossible. And through some magic, this is my contraption. So it goes to a CR2032 holder. This barely holds the soldering job here, but it should be fine if it doesn't get jostled a lot, which it probably won't. Next is mounting this thing.
Editor's note, you must snip one of the contacts of the original battery, because otherwise you might try to charge into it with the new battery, and that's less than ideal.
Now, I don't care what you will ever do to anything, but always solder in an IC holder if you've removed an IC. This makes it easier in the future to do replacements or troubleshooting or anything. Now, in this case, it's probably very rare that you will ever come across a replacement, but you never know. Maybe someone someday makes a pin compatible one, but I doubt it. Anyway, just tack the IC holder in. Do note that these Timekeepers use
a very wide
socket.
Now your soldering job doesn't have to be amazing, but it should not be an abomination.
Just to prevent the joint from cracking and wherever. Mine is under a pretty steep angle, but that's fine, I guess. Okay, next just put it back into the housing, the motherboard first, and that's just opposite of how you got it out. Now before anything, give it a test, see if it even powers on. Yeah, I noticed why. You might need to.
Usually one would forget to turn on the power supply, but I forgot to connect it. That's a new low. Now with the power connected, give it a test. That's a good sign. Now I don't know why it's not giving me an error, because something seems to be missing here, but I'll take it anyway. At least I didn't make it worse than it was.
Now I'll just connect that. Also, don't forget to mount the battery somewhere where you can easily access it, because these things probably drain like crazy. I mounted it over there next to the power button. This thing is spring release. I don't know how well that will work in the future, but we'll see. I just hope it's not shorted now, so. Next, we verify if the Timekeeper is indeed a Timekeeper again. So I have the handy dandy remote, and we'll just go to the settings. I don't know why it's in black and white, by the way. And we configure the time and date. Today is the 19th of March 2024. And it is approximately 15:05. And I'm going to save that. Now the time and date should be stored in the compact disc player. I will turn the power off. I will wait for a second or two. I will turn it back on. I will have a look again. And the time is still there. So that means this thing is fixed. It's completely working now. And I don't know what else would have been broken. Well, maybe this door, it closes really slowly, but it's fine, I guess. 'Cause it does work, so oh well. So yeah, now I can just button it up again and put it back in my setup.
Now I hope you learned something. More soon.